Hey, this is Emalani Massage Therapy, and today we're going to have a little bit of an honest chat about the COVID situation and massage therapy field as a whole. Some of the facts about what's going on are helpful to know because currently we just saw a discussion on Facebook about a clinic getting deemed medically necessary and getting an exemption to the executive order that shut us down. So there was an executive order on March 25th that came out that asked all clinics to close down if they were a massage therapist and to stop practicing because we can't practice massage at a safe distance, seeing as it's a hands-on type of work. A lot of therapists got irritated with that, thinking that they are essential healthcare and should be considered so. And there was a lot of discussion on this topic. So finding out that someone was able to appeal has kind of opened up a new discussion, which is, should we appeal or not? Some of the things that I wanted to cover were, if I thought we were essential, if we should be open, if so, what needs to change for us to be safer and essential, and what we can do about it. So one of the things is I agree. I do think we are essential, and I think that massage therapy should absolutely be considered a healthcare field. I deal with a lot of clients who are coming to me because I work specifically with medical and sports massage therapy. So I'm working with a vulnerable population that often has either chronic pain, they have loss of mobility, they might even have like crippling migraines that are managed through massage therapy and hands-on touch instead of through medication, or even in conjunction with medication. So some of these people, their everyday life is affected by this, and getting massage is their preventative health care to keep them out of the emergency room. And right now, those emergency rooms are full of people who are potentially exposed to coronavirus. So if these clients were not to get massage, they very likely could end up very close quarters with people who have potentially been exposed and may not even know it yet. So that just makes it that much more important for them to keep up their self-care and their preventative care, even though we have to be closed right now and they're seeking out other ways to deal with it. This will definitely cause them some difficulty and some pain, and I'm hoping that it doesn't cause them enough that they're in the ER right now. So with that being the understanding of what I feel, I think that we are absolutely essential. I think that we are a healthcare system. But however, I live in North Carolina where I'm licensed. We are not licensed through the Department of Health, like some other states like Washington maybe, which is where I was trained. So out there we're part of the Department of Health and we're trained like healthcare workers in the sense that we understand about different kinds of diseases, about transmission, about recognizing symptoms, and really taking precautions in that case. Like we were taught extra precautions around people who might have autoimmune disorders. We're taught how to handle cancer patients. We're also dealing with people who may have pregnancies. So with that extra knowledge that I got because my school was medically oriented, I have the understanding of how vital we can be and how much we also don't know about healthcare at the same time. Like we do know some, but we don't know everything, and that leaves us in a kind of gray area. So that comes to the second part, which is, should we be open? Honestly, I think the answer is no. Like it has to be no. The reason why is because a lot of us, when we practice in our clinics, especially those who might have multiple therapists in an area, you can't possibly know whether you have the virus right now. We kind of have Schrodinger's virus. If you don't know what that means, it's the idea that you don't know if it's A or B or both until you have definitive evidence. So you very well could be a carrier of the virus, or you could come into contact with someone who has the virus who doesn't know yet until 2 weeks later when they tell you, you interacted with them and they did. And what this leaves us with is we have to act as if we are both. We have to act like we have it so we don't infect others, and we have to act like we don't have it so that we don't get infected either. So it's a real strange area to be in right now. It's something that a lot of Americans are not used to dealing with. But with that understanding of we can't possibly know and the amount of time it takes for the virus to show symptoms, it's not a good idea to be in close contact with someone. In fact, breathing in their face for an hour in a closed room with little ventilation. So we have to understand that, like massage therapists, as much as we want to be helping our clients, as much as we are a healthcare, we can't do this safely. Healthcare professionals and hospitals are struggling with this. We are not trained for a pandemic. We are trained for some basic information on healthcare and how to recognize serious cases right away and to refer out when that happens. But we're not taught to diagnose, and we're not taught to take those extra precautions. A good example is nurses in hospitals are wearing face masks, they're wearing the plastic sheet, they're wearing the gowns and the booties on their shoes, and they're wearing gloves. And most therapists look just like I do right now. Towards the end of the time when we were practicing in March, the only difference is that my clients and I would wear masks during that time, before this became serious and before we knew we had to shut down. But that's not enough anymore. Wearing a mask is not enough to stop it. And again, it comes back to our training and the regulations on cleanliness and cleaning that we have. Being that we're a massage field, our standards, especially here where we're a very young profession due to, licensure only existing for 20 years, we don't have enough of an update on our Practice Act and in our regulations and standards of cleanliness to keep up with a pandemic. And a lot of this, of course, has to be adjusted to over time. But again, we don't have that prior training that we can keep up with the healthcare field, especially since we're not used to doing, the extra precautions. So it's really important to keep that in mind. Like, we're not trained for a pandemic. And the other thing is, a lot of massage therapists, they may not know how much incorrect information they are experiencing or taking in. There is so much chatter and there's so much talk on the internet, and everyone wants to find a cure. Everyone wants to find, that magic thing that'll keep them immune and safe. And there's a lot of incorrect information, a lot of misleading information in the news, in articles, on Facebook, and even coming out of the White House, to be honest. We don't know, and every day our understanding of this virus, it changes every single day. It went from being, it could be 6 feet apart, to maybe the public should be wearing masks instead of shouldn't be wearing masks, to now it might be 13 feet apart, to it's traveling on your shoes. And this changes over the week. Every single day there's something new, and we can't keep up with that. So we have to be reasonably understanding with the fact that we may not know everything and we might be wrong tomorrow. But to minimize what we can, how we can today, is going to make tomorrow a lot easier. So really the things that need to change if people are going to appeal to the state to become deemed essential, we should really be paying attention to our education. We should be increasing our understanding of health practices and how healthcare can help keep us safe. What kind of procedures, healthcare workers are taking notice of and emulating that in our own clinics. Being extra cautious and a little bit extra with our cleaning, thinking of every light switch, every doorknob, every handle, every wall that is touched, even down to the button on your holster that clips it on. We have to be noticing and taking care of these things before we can start working with individuals. And of course, we have to give ourselves enough time to invest in cleaning a room thoroughly before we bring in the next person. The other thing we should be doing is our board, the North Carolina Board of Massage and Bodywork Therapy. I think that they are in a key point in time when they can really step up to the plate, and they can help us to express better standards and protocols, to update our Practice Act, to understand healthcare and preventative measures that we should be taking every day. Instead of just saying we should cleanly launder the sheets before providing them to another person, I think that they need to give us better guidance on what we're doing and what we can do to keep ourselves and our clients safe. And of course, when it comes to writing new legislation or new rules, it has to be very thorough, and it also has to be written the proper way so that it's implementable, and also so that it can be actually useful instead of just being more words to say clean your space. So specific changes to our Practice Act, to our cleaning protocols, and our educational standards, I think need to be started on today. I think they need to be something that we look at and we really strive to upgrade in the coming time, especially since your education may depend on where you went to school and what state you're in. So you may not even get any kind of education on how to deal with populations that are vulnerable, or how to deal with recognizing infectious diseases that someone may not be paying attention to. And that's really important to standardize that across the board, just like we do when it comes to, CPR and first aid understanding.